Welcome. Hi, this is Scott Tanker, host of Breakfast with the Boss. I'm here each and every Thursday with you, sharing with you stories of people who can help us. They can help us in business, they can help us personally, they can help us in all sorts of ways, even sometimes helping our animals that we live with. And today I have someone that's very, very important to me because I have a personal connection to this. Someone in my family is dealing with some of these issues. Let alone, I have someone with us today who's going to help us deal with what I call the snowballs of life. They're worse than the curveballs. The snowballs hit you in the head and they hurt. So I want to talk to you. I want to say hello to you. I want you to say hello to Barbara Steingas. Stein, how are you?
Good, Scott. Thank you for having me here
Yes,
today.
now, you are, I find you to be a very, very interesting person in so many ways. I want to set the stage for the people so they understand what we're talking about. You have had snowballs during your life that hit you in the head, knocked you on your butt, and you said, I'm not giving up.
Right.
I'm going to find a way to make myself better. We'll talk specifically in a minute.
Okay.
And you're the kind of person that said, I'm not going to let something take me down. I'm not going to let someone take me down because of the diseases or the insecurities or the depression or the things in life that have made me feel so miserable that I don't know if I can get back up. And you said, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yeah. Now, for those of you out there, that can mean so many things. It can be emotional, it can be physical, it can be a combination of both, it could be mysteries. The worst thing about things like this is the mystery. So, here we are. Now, Barbara, I want you to share with us what happened, if you can.
Sure.
And why you got to where you are, and then we're going to talk about what you're doing for everybody.
Okay. Well, just out of college, at age 22, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. It's an autoimmune disease of the intestinal tract.
Know it very well.
And it was like a death sentence. The doctor said there was no cure.
Right.
All they could do is abate the symptoms with medication and maybe surgery.
Right.
So I was on this downward spiral. I'd be okay, take more medicine, be okay.
Now, stop for a second. Crohn's, for people who don't know exactly what that means, what it feels like.
Okay. So I lived in the bathroom, basically.
Right. And everything you ate was against you.
Yes, I was losing
totally
weight.
you.
I went down to like 85 pounds at my lowest. I looked like a concentration camp victim. I was so
God
thin.
forbid. Right.
Yes, I had severe vaginal rectal abscesses, tortures, just had
And
no energy.
It wasn't because of anything you did. It wasn't because of anything you did in college. It wasn't because of anything you did growing up. It was just there.
Well, I think it was a perfect storm that came together. There was a lot of different pieces that came together. And I realized that when I had my epiphany, that there had to be a way out of this rabbit hole. After I was on that downward spiral I was talking about, the doctors wanted to shut off my immune system. At that time, it was a new method of treating. This was like in the late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
And they said, your immune system's overactive, let's shut it off.
Right.
And I started thinking, well, where was balance? Where was health? Wasn't that the goal?
Right. You weren't convinced.
Yeah, and I started to doubt what they were saying. It was like I popped my head out of the water and said, wait a minute, I got to take control of my life and be in the driver's seat, you know, instead of just following them blindly.
Right.
You know, they had some good information, but they were trained in acute care, not in a long-term chronic illness.
Correct.
So they didn't know how to get me back to health. They just knew how to stop certain symptoms
and how to even
in the short term.
maintain some health.
Exactly.
Because you can feel good for a little bit, and you think, okay, I got it, but then you don't.
Right, because you're not getting to the root cause.
You're not getting, right, exactly.
You're just putting Band-Aids over these gaping wounds, you know, so I had to find a way back out of the rabbit hole, and it came to me like a puzzle that I needed to find the right pieces. Like I said before, not one thing got me sick. There was many different pieces to that puzzle.
Right.
So the same had to be true to get me well, and finally I was able to find all my spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical pieces.
Now we got to stop there because no one finds them all the same day.
No, obviously not.
Right, so now we know that the mind is the strongest muscle in the body. I always tell everybody that. That we know what's right. We don't always do it, but we know it's right.
Right.
We know what we should do, but we don't always do it.
Right.
How did you do it for yourself?
I had to unlock a lot of the subconscious self-sabotage that I was doing.
Right.
Because I started going to the Atkins Center in New York City, Dr. Robert Atkins. He had a clinic when he was alive.
Yes, sure.
And he taught me how to eat better, to stop creating inflammation in my body and feeding the bad bacteria like the yeast,
right.
which we call candida as well.
Right.
And it worked, but I had to take a lot of time to prepare meals, just
Right.
like our grandmothers or great-grandmothers had to do.
And
you know, I was
life
a
is
career,
not like that
no,
anymore.
I'm a
Right.
career
You had a
woman.
career.
I work full-time.
Right.
I want to be like everybody else. I was
You're
in my
active,
20s.
you're energetic, you know, your 20s, you got to be kidding me, God. Why are you doing this to me?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing. Like,
It is.
My sister has it. So I know
It's very
she's had it for a
devastating.
very long time. She's much older now, and I'm so interested in hearing about this because I don't think people understand how difficult it is to live your life when you're not sure about your body movements. And we all know that when we don't feel well. How about if you don't feel well 100% of the time?
Right.
Hello.
It's difficult.
I want
It's
people to
very
understand
difficult.
and have some compassion. But
Right.
it's hard because it's not something you look at you look marvelous. You look
I'm
great.
55. I'm in the best shape
Right.
of my life.
But you also probably look fairly good back in 22. But then people say, well, but you know, they didn't realize you had this issue. And it's a hidden issue. And it's not someone that people like to talk about, so I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
and
nobody
sharing
likes
it
to
with
talk
us.
about being in the bathroom. But yeah.
No,
but
but
it is, and more and more people are having digestive issues because there's
Absolutely.
so much stress. And getting back to the self-sabotage, so I had to uncover the blocks, like the mental and emotional and
Right.
spiritual blocks, because it's the disease that ends up becoming the disease.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Tell me how you had the epiphany, I got to change.
Yes.
First thing you did after that was get out of bed, right?
Yes,
Was
yes,
it enough?
because I had been pretty much a bed person
Right.
because
so
I had
then-
no energy.
Right. You had no energy. You said, I got to do this on my own. You either did some research or you'd already done some research. And you said, I'm going to kick this program in because I'm just, as much as I love the doctors, I'm just not confident they understand how to do this. I mean, that's what we're saying. And that's nothing critical of them.
No,
It
they're
just
taught
is,
what they're
yeah.
taught, but there's other
Right,
pieces
right.
that, they need to,
Pull together.
Pull
They
together,
don't always
right.
have that ability.
Exactly.
So now, what happened next?
So I was self-sabotaging myself. I'd feel good. I'd eat the foods I was supposed to. Then the weekends I would just blow it, and I was on this up and
Did it
down
feel like
spiral.
horrible, right?
And I realized I need to work here and here.
Right.
And I started doing like a self-improvement journey, reading different books, like Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life was one of the first books I read. I went to like Anthony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer.
So the first thing was mental.
The first thing was actually physical, and then the next piece was mental.
So the physical part was nutrients? You
yes,
started
go
eat
to the
better?
Atkins Center, eat better,
Oh,
eat
so you learned
healthier.
how to eat better first. Then you said, okay, now I feel a little better, but now I need to work on my head to make this an
Right,
ongoing
so I
thing.
can stop
Instead of just-
self-sabotaging myself and be on this up and down
Because I have a
roller
good program,
coaster.
but I'm not sticking with it for whatever reasons.
Right.
Okay.
Because
And then
I
what?
didn't feel deserving or whatever. We all have programming. We're taught so much negative programming in
Right.
order to help us.
Right.
Like our parents will say, don't forget your goulashes or your boots, whatever.
Yeah.
Like when you
Make
go
your bed in the
outside,
morning.
or don't
Now all of a
forget to
sudden
make your
Yeah,
bed.
now you have a check mark
But
you
the
got to worry
brain
about.
doesn't hear don't. It's a negative. So we program ourselves for what we don't want instead of programming ourselves for what we want. Like remember.
Right.
Just that little shift really makes a big difference in how we're programmed and how we operate with what we follow
So-
through with our actions based on our thoughts and our
So
beliefs.
remembering something is more stressful than creating it as part of your ongoing lifestyle, whatever the sum of those somethings are. Look, we all know you got to remember where your keys are. We all got to remember your birthday. That's not what we're talking about.
No.
You're talking about things that are stressful, which is really what it's all about.
Right.
Stress-free.
Stress is a big
I
thing.
couldn't
and
agree more.
It locks in the disease puzzle, I always said. Or love locks in the health puzzle.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, we all know we need more love.
Yes.
We've known that for a long time in this whole world. But we can only work on ourselves first.
Yes.
And here you are, you've worked on yourself nutriently. There's a new word. There's a new word. Scott just figured out a new word. Nutriently. And you've worked on yourself emotionally. And part of that emotional was intellectual. Was reading books
Yes.
that said you can do it. Don't let your head say no.
Right, you got to connect the heart
Right.
and the mind so that
Right.
they work in unison, not that they're tearing each other apart. Because consciously, a lot of times we say one thing, but internally we believe
Sure,
another. So
sure.
you want to
Which is
stop
why
that tug of war.
acts are always better than words, and
Yeah.
pencil to paper is always better than anything.
Right.
Because when you write it down, it has to mean something.
Definitely.
So what happened after that? You began to feel a little better, inch by inch, may I?
Yeah, and then I met my late husband
Mm-hmm.
when I was 85 pounds at my lowest low. And his unconditional love and belief, because he didn't see this frail woman. He saw my full wholeness, I guess,
Right,
of
right.
my spirit. And he married me not knowing if I'd live or die. And that unconditional love is kind of like 1 + 1 = 3 rather than 2. And so that helped me get to believe more and to gel my pieces together.
Okay.
And eventually I got off medication. I've been off medication about over 15 years now.
And you're eating the same kinds of things you did 15 years ago?
I had to be more strict in the beginning. You know, when
Okay.
you're resetting your thermostat,
Right,
you
know
got to
what
be
you can
really
take, what you
strict.
can't take,
And
right.
yeah, now I just, in moderation. It's all about balance and lifestyle and harmony. You know, no extremes, because it's hard to live in extremes. You want to live in a nice, comfortable
When you're younger,
balance.
it's fun, but when you're older, not really.
Yeah, and your
That's
body can't take it as
Yeah,
much
right.
anymore.
Well, you know, the 9 is the new 12 for us. So, when you started to eat better, you said you you had little ups and downs trying to figure it all out, and now you is ingrained in your soul exactly what you need to eat.
Yeah.
And that to me is the difference between success and not success. When you're exercising and you have 12 exercises and you can't remember 10 of them or do them right, doesn't matter.
It's not about perfection. That's
Right.
a good point, Scott. It's
And
not about
I've learned that.
perfection.
I'm getting so smart. It's too bad I'm too old now. I'm getting so smart, but it doesn't matter sometimes about the other stuff.
Right.
So it's really important
Yes.
that I think that when we do something, and it's a matter of learning,
Yes.
if you learn it, and then it becomes second nature, I guess is what
Right.
we call it, it becomes so much easier to love
Right.
and to
does.
hold and to continue. We have so much more to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm with Barbara Steingas, and she has so much more to share with us because we're going to share with you after our commercial some of the things she's done in addition to helping herself is how to help others. She's written books and she's in a movie. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
4800. As a licensed insurance agent, I'll assist you in making an informed and confident decision on a Medicare plan that meets your needs, lifestyle, and budget. Call me today for a free, no obligation Medicare benefits consultation. 856-226-4800.
Boardwalks built for fun. Legendary rock and roll clubs.
This is how we do it. Hip and hop.
Casinos by the ocean.
Hip and hop.
Now that's New Jersey. 130 miles of beautiful beaches. Solid rock. And
Welcome back. This is Scott Tanker, host of Breakfast with the Boss. I'm here each and every Thursday from 10 to 10:30 on rvntv.tv. Stay with us all the time because we have really interesting guests. And today's guest is Barbara Steingas, and her life story regarding her downs. And now, of course, your ups, and
Yes.
you look beautiful. You seem so wonderful and healthy. She has had Crohn's disease since the young age of the 20s. Didn't know how to deal with it. It was mystery. The doctors tried to help, wasn't helping. She was depressed. She was down on her luck. She was down on everything. She hated life. And
wanted to die.
She wanted to die. And I understand what you mean by that. And she wanted to die. And she said something inside her, spiritual or intellectual, or maybe even that little thing that mom and dad said to her, never give up.
Yeah.
She didn't give up. She found a way to get better, and that's why she's here today to share that story, which we have the first 15 minutes or so. And now we want to talk about what she can do for you. Because it's not always about yourself. When you can do something great for yourself, you want to share it with others because it's great. You can help people get better. And that's what we're all about. So
Exactly.
she has written 2 books. This one first?
Sure.
This one's called Solving the Crohn's and Colitis Puzzle. It is not a game.
No.
Although life is a game sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we need to make sure we don't take it too seriously, folks.
That's true.
You're
Humor
laughing
is excellent
Humor is
medicine.
excellent. Humor and smiling, the best medicine in the whole world. But this is a book called Solving the Crohn's and Colitis Puzzle. Tell us a little bit about the book.
It contains my top 7 physical, mental, and emotional, and spiritual strategies, so 21 in all, of how to nourish yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And it's made to be simple and easy because, you know, we're all stressed and quick today, and we want some useful tools that we can do immediately and incorporate them into our lives
And
so
now,
that we can make a difference in how we feel mentally, physically, emotionally, and
and this,
spiritually.
by the way, folks, this stuff, this is not hard. This is not rocket science.
No.
This is a matter of training yourself a little bit more than what you've used to.
Right. And learn to
you
love
do-
yourself
and learn
and
to
care.
love in the form that you're in.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many people I know, and especially without being too profile-like women who have stomach issues. And I can understand why in today's world. when all the things have to do with children and jobs and expectations,
A lot.
and they need to look beautiful all the time, and they need to be in shape, and they need to be a wage earner, and they need to make sure the 3 kids have all the dentist appointments and the
Right.
doctor's appointments and the soccer and the hockey and
a lot of hats
you got
to
to be
wear.
kidding me. I was so upset with myself when I didn't realize earlier how hard it is to raise a family in today's world. And that can create a lot of stress. The men have stress too, not to belittle them at all. Their stress is, I got to make a lot of money. I got to make sure I take care of
Be
my
the
family.
provider.
I got to be a provider, just like it's always been, because I don't think some of that doesn't go away. I
Right.
don't care what anybody says, and that's a stress for them.
Sure.
And then, of course, in the middle of all that, you want to have a happy life. So people have to worry
Gotta find
about
the balance.
Right, and the balance I got to tell people is not at the end. The balance
No.
is the journey.
Exactly.
Because if the journey's happy, the end is always happy.
Right.
I've seen very, very wealthy and rich older people who are not happy, and they're not healthy. They're wealthy,
Right.
but they're not healthy.
Right.
So we want to make sure we take care of our health. This is
Right.
what does that for people who either have Crohn's or consider that they might.
Right.
Real quickly.
And it can be for any chronic illness. It doesn't have to be for Crohn's. It's
It can
about,
be
because
something that-
inflammation is the root of all chronic illnesses,
Right.
and this deals with that.
Okay, so it's more conceptual in that respect.
Yes.
Okay. What are the 3 things people, if they think they have an issue, will notice, besides obviously more apt to want to go to the bathroom?
Well, inflammation in general is like it zaps your energy.
Makes you feel like you have the flu kind of thing?
Yeah, you're just fatigued
You
all
feel
the
like
time.
a slug?
You know,
Yeah.
and people will resort to things like coffee and stuff. Yeah, that spikes you up, but then it comes back down.
Right.
You don't really have energy to do anything in your life. You could have aches and pains in your body. Sometimes you get headaches.
Now, some of these are normal. We have to make sure people
Yeah.
understand. Some of
But
these
this
you're
is more
going to have
chronic and frequent, like
you're gonna
more
see
than
more
normal,
Right,
more
you're
than
going to
the
feel more
usual.
often than you think. Especially if
Exactly.
you're not drinking or staying up late. You're thinking, why should I feel this way?
Right.
And if you're sleeping okay, or maybe sometimes you're not even sleeping okay because of
Right.
it. Right.
Right. So sometimes they can be subtle, but
Mm-hmm.
it's these little things that build up that kind of blow up into a bigger issue. You
Well, a
know,
lot of people
because
play
we're not
denial.
taught to listen to our bodies.
Right.
We'll just say, "Oh, that's getting old. You know, I have
Right.
aches and pains. That's just because I'm getting old. I'm
Right.
getting arthritis." Not necessarily.
No.
You know, and that's a sign of inflammation too, because it'll get into your joints. You could have issues with your skin, you know, chapped
Mm-hmm.
lips, dry skin. You know, these are all different signs that you have some kind of inflammation in your body.
Now, it doesn't mean you should be a hypochondriac.
No,
but
no,
by
I
the
don't
same
mean
token,
that. Yeah,
I know,
but you should listen and take care of
Right.
things.
You have
for
to know yourself before you know others. You got to love
Right.
yourself before you love others. And if you don't feel like you're on top of your game, there's a
Right.
reason.
Right.
It's either mental, physical, or a combination of both.
Exactly.
And it's not easy to fix ourselves.
Right.
But if you recognize it, it makes it a little easier.
Right. And little things can build up into big things. I had signs that had I known, had the knowledge, I could have averted having a whole chronic
Right.
illness. But I didn't pay attention to it because I didn't know.
You didn't know what you didn't know.
Exactly.
Which happens a lot in this world now.
Right.
So, and remind me to ask you where people can get more information about this
Sure.
stuff, which I know there's a lot out there. So the one book is Solving the Crohn's and Colitis Puzzle, piecing together your picture of optimal health and vitality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's spiritual, it's nutritional, and it's physical, and it's emotional.
Yes, all
Okay.
4 quadrants.
And then we have Solving the Grief and Loss Puzzle. Now, this looks a little piecing together your new normal life. What is the grief or the loss?
Okay. For me, it was I lost my late husband 10 years ago. So after he accomplished his mission of getting me better, I guess it was his time to go. And so that was 10 years ago. And then I met another man a couple years later. We were together for 3 years, just about to get engaged. And 4 years ago, he passed away. So I wanted to give back on how I picked up my pieces and got back into a new normal life. Because after the second one passed, I thought I was done. I was like, I don't want to do
Emotionally
this
spent.
anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, we're enemies. Don't talk to me. I'm done. I'm not giving back anymore. I had enough. How much more did you want to take from me?
Right.
After I allowed that, it was interesting to
You're
allow
mourning.
that
You're
anger, because
that
a lot of
anger,
times
yeah.
I want to shove it under the rug.
Yeah.
It just lifted off my heart. And I wanted to be able to give back to people so they can do simple things to help themselves spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to get through any kind of loss or grief. It's not just death.
It's all about the heart. See, the mind's strong, but the heart has to go along with it.
Yes,
They don't work apart.
right.
They just don't. Now, we all have grief, we all have loss, and all of us should respect the fact that what we have is grief and loss, no matter what it is grief and loss. It's like there's no right and wrong here.
No.
So when you have a grief or a loss or feel you have something, a book like this can really help you
Oh,
feel a little better,
definitely.
get your mind on a programmed track to feel the way you really should feel. Because frankly, life is hard, and but it goes on. It's a clock, and it goes on, and we can mourn, but we have to move on.
Right.
I mean, I felt terrible about our president passing away. And so many memories, especially my
Right.
generation, where the
Right.
greatest people in the world, the greatest generation in the world, who ran our country,
Right.
is not there anymore, regardless of what's going on now.
Right, like the
That's what it
elders
was.
are all dying
right,
off,
and they are
yeah.
the greatest generation ever lived. I'm convinced of that, as far as I'm concerned. Now, the next thing you did, which is kind of neat, and this is the most important thing I think, is you made a movie, or you're making a movie.
Well, I'm in a movie
You're
that
in
a
a movie,
woman is
yeah.
making out in Vegas, and it's called Becoming the Keys. And the premiere will be January out
And
in
that's in
Vegas.
Vegas.
Yes. And
Coming to a theater near you?
coming to a theater. It'll be, I think, on, streamed online. But this is actual premiere where you get to be in a movie theater like the old glamorous times.
Yeah.
You get to dress
How are you?
up
Yeah.
and,
Aren't you gonna
and
love that?
have,
Yeah.
a after party and
Now,
whatnot.
Becoming the
So-
Keys is, there's 7 keys,
Yes.
okay, and they are?
And they are, let's see, there's appreciation,
Appreciation,
which is about being grateful
Right.
about what we have, focusing on what we have.
Are these in any order?
Not necessarily. That's
okay.
just how they are on the marquee kind
Okay.
of thing. And to just focus on what we have and
Mm-hmm.
what's good. I mean, there's things that we don't have, but instead of focusing on that, appreciate
say
what
it
you
all the
have.
time.
That's a big key to get in, to move forward in life. There's also harmony, which was the key of harmony.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie's like a hybrid between the movie The Secret, where there are experts that are sharing how they use these particular keys to get through the challenges. I spoke about balance and harmony already,
Right.
and that's why I
Right.
wanted to choose that one, because that really helped me heal.
Yes.
And it's also the other piece of it's the hybrid between The Secret and It's a Wonderful Life. And it's apropos because Christmas is coming up and that.
Right.
So we're helping a fictional character that's down on her luck, wants to commit suicide, and an angel is helping her so she can get her wings, the angel, and helping the person so that they don't want to commit suicide and know that there's a way to live and to get out of the rabbit hole by bringing her to all of us experts. So
Just
then
like
there's
It's a
also-
Wonderful Life.
Exactly.
And so you have appreciation, you have harmony.
And then there's faith.
Right.
Faith is believing without knowing, without seeing. You
Mm-hmm.
just have, like I had that belief that I was going to get better, but I didn't know how.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But then things appeared, when the
Right.
students read teachers.
Right.
So having faith in that. And then there's
You have passion here?
passion. You have
Yeah.
to be passionate about something, and
absolutely.
passionate about your own life.
Passion and purpose.
Yes, like you have to want to feel better and have that for yourself and have a mission and purpose to give back. There's also empathy, which is just knowing that you're not alone, that there are other people out there that are having experiences, and maybe your experience and what you did can help touch someone else and make them better. There's also vibration. We're all energy, we're vibration, energy.
Tap into that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you want to increase your energy level and your vibration so you feel better. And then I think I missed one.
Empathy.
No, I said empathy.
Oh, yeah,
There's
courage?
Courage, yes,
Yes.
courage. You have to have the courage to take one step forward.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a huge step. It's these little things that we do that add up.
You know what? You don't even have to explain these words. They explain themselves. I just
Right.
wanted to do it. Anyway, I'm looking at this thing smiling because I got goosebumps. Oh, yeah, I have that. I have that. Oh, I need more of that. We
Right.
should make a poster with these 7 words on there.
Yes.
Yeah, really, because I think the words themselves tell you exactly what they need to tell you. There's no explanation
That's
necessary.
true.
So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
So you have a movie. Congratulations.
Thank
Remember
you.
us little people. That's so good. It's so exciting to have a movie about something that you're so passionate about that you can share with people to help them get through life's challenges.
Right, because we all have challenges that we need to get through, whether they're little, big, it doesn't matter. That there's ways out of the rabbit hole and to move forward and to have more health, happiness, and joy in your life.
Well, I mean, people. A lot of guys think I'm a man. I can't cry in front of people. I can't show my weak mamby-pamby side. It's the total opposite. The more
Definitely.
you show yourself within reason,
Yeah.
the more you communicate your feelings within reason, then people are going to feel much closer to you and much more apt to help. And what's really cool about it is that you are going to feel better.
Oh, definitely.
And we need a world of people who feel better. Wouldn't you think?
Make the world a much better place.
Yes, you've been so much fun today.
Thank
Really
you so
enjoyed your
much,
time.
Scott.
Now
This has
listen, I
been
want you to speak in
wonderful.
this camera here, Barbara. I want you to tell them you're a radiant life coach, you're a therapist, you're a health and healing specialist, you're an award-winning author, you're going to be a major movie star soon, and I want you to tell them how to get a hold of you, where to get a hold of you, and your contact information. Speak into this camera.
Sure. My website is barbarasteingas.com. My last name is spelled S as in Sam, T-E-I-N-G-A-S as in Sam. And I'm on Facebook as Barbara Steingas. And all my links for my social media are actually on my website. So that would be the best place to go.
And I want you to get a hold of her at 908-391-4463. She has 2 books, Solving the Grief and Loss Puzzle. I presume they can get this on Amazon?
Yes.
And the other book...
The link is on my website.
On the web, and the other book, which is really neat because it has, I like the binder, I like these
Yeah.
binders. Solving the Crohn's and Colitis Puzzle. If you have anybody you know, friends, family, obviously yourself, share with them this information. It may help them become happier and more content with something that it wasn't their fault, they don't have control over, other than how they react to it. Thank you
We
so
all
much.
have power to become better.
We all do. And by the way, it's not just diseases that are Crohn's and colitis.
Right.
It's a matter what it is that challenges you. These are the things that help us get back on top.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again, Scott.
Yeah, you're welcome. Now listen, ladies and gentlemen, here we are each and every week. We want to see you at 10 to 10:30 each and every week to watch our show, Breakfast with the Boss, rvntv.tv. We have interesting people just like Barbara every week to help you get through life, enjoy life, and to be active. Take care. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.
In between.
Look in the window.
Now that's New Jersey.
Burlington County College.
Is now Rowan College at Burlington County.
Still the same great faculty.
At a community college ranked top 50 in the nation.
Basically, we earn more and pay less.
RCBC students are accepted at Rowan University after graduation.
And get a bachelor's degree for around $30,000.
Online and Mount Laurel students get a 15% Rowan University tuition discount.
And have many scholarship opportunities.
So you earn more and pay even less.
Rowan College at Burlington County.
Your path to success.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to strengthen our servicemen?